Does your team know how to push your buttons? We've been exploring a person's uniqueness and how understanding this information will allow us to intentionally flow in all situations towards achieving healthy happiness. Another benefit to understanding this information is once we know a person's uniqueness, we can begin to see what might send them into a hole or a bad spot, mentally or emotionally. It can give us clues as to what might trigger them. When someone calls our son, whose intangible driver is teacher, a know-it-all, he gets very upset and it can ruin his day. But if someone calls our administrator daughter a know-it-all, she just moves on without any care in the world. If you held our younger son, who's an external processor, to the first thing he said, he would melt down and complain that it's not fair. If you held our older son, who's an internal processor, to the first thing he said, he would be happy that you get him. If we didn't look at these situations with regards to each of their uniqueness, we might never understand why our kids trigger when they do and why they can go into a hole. But because we know the uniqueness of each of our home team, we know that my teacher son is not trying to be a know-it-all. He is sharing his gift with us by commentating on the topic we are discussing. That gives him energy, and when we value it, he feels joy and fulfillment. Our goal is for everyone on our home team to know their uniqueness, embrace it, and then be able to communicate it to others. Our teacher son had an aha moment recently. Because he gets upset when others call him a know-it-all, he assumed it would be painful to others. So when he was upset with a friend, he told the friend that she was a know-it-all. His friend wasn't fazed when my son made this comment. This actually made him more frustrated because now he was upset at the friend and confused. I explained to him that because he's a teacher ID, it can bother him when others call him a know-it-all. It's a trigger for him. As I shared with him that his friend was an administrator, his eyes lit up. He said, "Oh, that's like Ariana, his sister, and she gets upset when we call her a control freak." And just like that, as the good teacher ID that he is, he spent the next half hour commentating on what would possibly trigger each of his friends based on each of their uniqueness. So are you ready to help all your teams avoid triggering each other? Thank you for letting me share my leadership thought. Have a great week.